If I could go back, I don't think I would change a thing about our eco-friendly wedding. Hi, I'm Maria and welcome to Living Planet Friendly, where I share my imperfect, low-waste life here on YouTube and almost every other platform. Our wedding was almost 3 months ago. Time flies. We got engaged on June 24th, 2022 and got married on March 25th, 2023. So we had 9 months of wedding planning. This video has taken me a long time to make and it's all inclusive of wedding planning from day one. After I got engaged, I was shocked to learn just how much waste the wedding industry produces. The average American wedding creates 400 pounds of garbage and 63 tons of CO2. And let's just ignore the waste for a second. The average American wedding costs $30,000. I don't know about you, but I was not wanting to spend that much and create that much waste on a single day. So pretty early on in wedding planning, we talked about it and decided we wanted to try to DIY and find as much as possible secondhand. And if we couldn't find what we wanted secondhand, that's fine. We would shop new from a small business. There were very few things that we bought brand new from a big business. We were able to find pretty much everything from a small business. So our first wedding decision was our venue. We chose a very non-traditional venue that really just fit us pretty well. We got married at the Buffalo and Erie County Botanical Gardens. We had actually been going there every winter since we started dating just to get a break from the snow and the cold. We were able to actually have our ceremony in the big palm dome, which was amazing. Our cocktail hour and our dinner and reception were all held in one of their big empty greenhouses, and then everybody came back to the big palm dome for dancing at the end of the night. It was absolutely breathtaking, and our venue was so unique and so incredible. One of the first eco-friendly decisions that we made was actually to have our venue host both our ceremony and reception, so we didn't have any emissions from guests or us traveling from the ceremony to the reception. We were able to do both at the gardens, and it was perfect. It was also just a really unique experience for guests, people who hadn't been to a botanical garden, but also they got to see it during the day, during our reception, and then the sunset around 7:30, which is when our dancing started, and the lights started to go down, but then they had all of these colorful lights in the plants, so the whole gardens was lit up at night, which was so cool. And they actually only offer that during specific times of the year. They do like a 1 to 2 month period in the winter where they do like a gardens at night, and it was just a really unique experience. We were able to book out the whole garden, so it was just us and our guests, and we thought that it was more special than just a banquet hall. 10 out of 10 would recommend getting married at your local botanical gardens. When it came to catering, we recognized that a lot of our friends and family had specific dietary restrictions or allergies, and we wanted a caterer that could accommodate it without making it obvious, so we settled with Buffalo Catering Company. We ended up doing a station-style dinner, so all of the ingredients were separate. You were basically able to build your own dishes. So we had a pasta station with several types of sauces and toppings, a mashed potato bar that had all different types of toppings, a salad bar, same thing, several toppings and dressings that you could pick from, and then we did have a meat carving station because I recognized that while neither me or my partner would eat the meat, we really don't eat a lot of meat. Most of our guests probably would. So this is what worked best for our group of people, us, family, and our guests. But it was perfect because people could customize what they wanted. So if they didn't want meat, they didn't have to take it and it didn't come on their plate. This also meant that people ate everything off of their plates instead of shoving things to the side. Like, I hate onions. So whenever I'm at a wedding and there's onions or something in the dish that I don't like, or chunky tomatoes, I always just like shove it to the side. So it worked out really well. People could customize the dishes exactly how they wanted, and the food was really good. Everybody loved our food. The caterer took care of all of our napkins and tablecloths, and they rented them, and they weren't plastic, they were cloth, so those were washed and reused afterward. And then we had the option of a disposable dinnerware or a china set. We chose the china set so that everything would be washed and reused afterward. I want to say it was a couple $100, but for us it made the most sense. And it looked a lot nicer than disposable. Any extra food was packed out and divided up, which was actually not a lot because our caterers said that they were really good at determining how much food they actually needed to bring to an event, and they were true. There really was not that much extra food left over. And then they did put together dinners for both me and my husband for the next day, which was great because then we didn't have to worry about food on Sunday. And then any scraps were composted from the event, which was awesome. We also got our bar through our caterer, and we didn't really have a lot of customization that we needed to do, but I did buy these wood stir sticks from somebody on Etsy. We found them a few months before the wedding, but we thought they were so fun. Definitely not a necessity, but it was just one of those really cute customization things. Catering was by far the most expensive part of our wedding, but so worth it. Everyone had such good things to say about the food and loved that they could customize their dishes. The next few vendors didn't really need to be eco-friendly, but I did use small businesses, so I wanted to give them a shout out. We bought our cakes and cupcakes from this beautiful local bakery. We bought our cake topper from Etsy, and then this was a last minute addition, but we reached out to a local artist who was able to make a clay sculpture of our cat to stick on the bottom of our cake. It was so cute. And we still have that clay statue. It's now a decoration in our house. To display all of our desserts, I bought a cake stand and a ton of cupcake towers from Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores, and I think one of them was even from our Buy Nothing group too. I spray painted all of them black and then used food safe black paint on places where it would be touching food. Our dessert table looked beautiful and was inexpensive. And then very last minute, my parents ordered a couple trays of Italian cookies for the wedding. I think they came on plastic, but we can't be perfect everywhere. And the cookies were good, so it's fine. As far as our other vendors, they were all incredible and really great to work with. Again, none of them really needed to be eco-friendly per se, but we were really happy with our vendors. So we got engaged in June, and we didn't book our venue until the end of July, beginning of August. So in the beginning of July, I sent out engagement announcements to all of our family and friends. I printed them at home on recycled cardstock. I used photos that I took from after our engagement at Letchworth State Park for our save the dates, which were so cute. I took the photos myself and then printed them again at home on recycled cardstock. For our invites, I designed our whole suite. I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I actually designed all of our signage through the wedding, but I did get these professionally printed through Vistaprint, who offers recycled cardstock. So we got our whole wedding suite printed for $100. It was awesome and so cheap compared to any other invite suite that I saw. For all of our mailings, we actually ended up buying damaged box envelopes, and then I got stamps on Etsy. They're forever stamps, and they were half the price compared to what they were at the post office. For our RSVPs, we wanted to do some sort of postcards so we didn't have to have an envelope, reduce that waste just a little bit. So we actually bought damaged packaging postcards on Amazon and included them with our invites. We also did give the opportunity for people to RSVP virtually on our wedding website, but almost all of our guests RSVP'd using the postcards, which kind of surprised me. I thought more people would do it online. So I was glad that I did do physical RSVPs. So let's talk rings. Quinn picked out a beautiful, sustainable, and ethically sourced engagement ring with an opal stone and diamonds around it. I never wanted a main stone diamond. I always wanted an opal, so he did good. For our wedding bands, we actually shopped on Etsy. Quinn picked out his tungsten steel ring from a small business on Etsy, and honestly, it will probably last forever. And I actually picked out 2 different wedding bands. This was my first wedding band. I bought it from a small business on Etsy. I loved the twist, and I got it engraved with our wedding date. But once I put it on with my engagement ring, I just was not sold. It didn't quite fit with my stone, so I kept looking. After some more searching, I found this half sun wedding band, which I love and fits perfectly. Both bands are moissanite and were less than $100 each. I think Quinn's wedding band was about $100 too. I do still wear both of the wedding bands. I wear the half sun when I'm gonna wear my engagement ring, and I wear just the twist when I don't want to wear anything with the stone. All right, our looks. Quinn got his entire outfit brand new from Men's Warehouse. The reasoning behind it is because he didn't have a black suit, and it's a wardrobe staple that he really wanted. So we chose high quality pieces that would last a long time, and we got it tailored to fit him perfectly. He did buy a brand new pair of dress shoes because none of the ones that he had quite fit right, and then he picked out a bow tie and a matching vest. He wore a belt that he already had and black dress socks that he had too. So if we bought new, we bought bought high quality. As for me and my look, I wanted to wear a secondhand dress. The wedding dress industry is not very sustainable, but it was really important for my parents to be able to take me dress shopping and buy me a dress. So that cut out secondhand online shopping, and unfortunately we do not have a secondhand dress shop anywhere in this area or even within close driving distance. So we chose a smaller business, not a chain, and we went to Bridal Chateau. I found my dress. It's a dusty lavender underneath with white lace and tulle on top. So it was pretty unique. My mom did all of my alterations, and then after the wedding, I got the dress professionally cleaned and preserved. I know a lot of people do some creative things with their dress. I don't exactly know what I want to do. And I did save all of the pieces of my dress that were cut off because I'm really short. So my mom had to take off like a lot around the whole bottom. So I did save all of those pieces. I'm sure I'll come up with something that's DIY to do with them, but for now they're just stored in a closet. I ended up buying a brand new pair of purple Birkenstocks for me to wear. I wanted to be comfortable, and I wear Birkenstocks all the time during the summer, so I wanted to wear shoes that I would actually wear again after the wedding day. Because if I bought white shoes, even if they were white Birkenstocks, I don't think I would wear them again. And I was right. I wear my purple Birkenstocks pretty much all the time. I always say if there's not snow on the ground, I'm wearing Birkenstocks, and that's true. I did not wear a veil or anything like that. I just didn't want to. Instead, I found this beautiful floral headpiece on Etsy. It fit our wedding colors perfectly, and it gave me something extra to have in my hair. All of the jewelry that I wore, I already had, so I didn't need to buy anything new, aside from our rings. Alright, now let's talk wedding party. We went back and forth for weeks trying to figure out what we wanted to do. We both had big friend groups, and we didn't want to pick and choose, and bigger immediate families that we wanted included in our wedding. It would have been like a 10 to 15 person on each side wedding party if we ended up going through with a wedding party. It would have been a lot. People would have needed dresses, suits, flowers, ties, jewelry. Honestly, it would have added a huge cost for us and all of our friends who are also only 25. I did not want to ask anybody to spend money on our wedding. I honestly don't feel like we missed out at all not having a wedding party because we came up with what we called an I do crew. All of our immediate family had roles to play in the wedding. My brother officiated, my other brother was our Lord of the Rings and presented the rings during the ceremony. My brother-in-law read a short passage. Our niece was the flower girl, and both of our sisters were official witnesses. We asked all of our I do crew, which was our friends, siblings, parents, my cousin, and our niece, to pick something to wear that was in our color palette. Most people had something in their closet that fit already. For our flower girl, I thrifted a white basket and actually used a part of an extra table runner to fill the inside of the basket so it fit more with our wedding. Every year for Valentine's Day, my partner usually gets me a potted plant or a house plant or a succulent. This year I asked for flowers. So he got me a bunch of roses and some other flowers. I dried them out and they were our flower girl petals. For our ring box, my husband's wedding ring actually came in this really nice ring box, so I just cut extra slits in it so that all of our rings fit inside of it. And my brother who officiated used a notebook that he had used to officiate a different wedding, so didn't have to buy anything new for it. All of our friends that were in our I Do crew did something special that I had never seen done before and that we actually decided to do last minute. They lined our bridal aisle. So my parents and our siblings were in our processional and all of our friends lined the aisle. And then after my dad and I walked down the aisle, they filled in that space and then got a really close upfront view of the ceremony. It was so emotional when those doors opened and seeing all of our friends with really big smiles. I'm pretty sure every person that walked down the aisle was crying. Even Quinn, who said that he was not going to cry and is not a very emotional person, was crying before he even made it down the aisle. It was absolutely beautiful and one of my favorite things about the whole day. I also worked with Everly Candles, who makes beautiful, amazing refillable candles, and they gifted me 30 of these beautiful candles. They had a custom label with our wedding date and we were able to give them to our I Do crew, just as a little thank you for being part of our day. We got so many compliments on them and people are still sending me photos of them burning them, so I was really glad that I had them. They smelled so good and looked beautiful. During the wedding, to recognize recognize our friends and family that were part of our I Do crew, I had actually DIY'd 30 solo wood flower boutonnieres that had dried greenery. And then I also included the names of our I Do crew in our program. Speaking of solo wood flowers, I bought my beautiful bouquet for $150 on Facebook Marketplace. I absolutely loved my bouquet. It's reusable and it was beautiful. To make Quinn's boutonniere, I actually just pulled a flower out of the back of it and then it matched perfectly. We still have them. I don't know what I want to do with my bouquet yet. I designed our entire wedding program and printed it at home on recycled cardstock. A perk of getting married at the Gardens was that it was so beautiful already, we didn't really need any decor or dress it up in any way like you would a banquet hall. There were lights all throughout and we got so lucky because the weekend before our wedding was when they installed all of the spring flowers. So for our wedding we had hyacinths, tulips, and tons of other spring flowers blooming all throughout the Gardens. It smelled so beautiful. And a side note, to be more sustainable, the Gardens sells their bulbs at the end of each season that they take out. So we were able to buy a bunch of them and we're going to be planting them in our gardens for next year. So we'll always have flowers that bloomed during our wedding at our home. So beautiful. As far as decor, I'm going to kind of loop almost everything else that we needed into this category. But we had a few main sections of spaces that we needed to fill. First were our 2 tables that were in one of the greenhouses. It held our in memory of, our guest book, our card box, some other stuff like that. So for those 2 tables, pretty much everything was thrifted or from my Buy Nothing group. Our card box was from our Buy Nothing group and we painted it black. Our guest book was actually an old picture frame that I found at a thrift store. We bought a new mat for it, and then after the wedding I printed a photo of us from the wedding inside of it. And we had all of our guests sign around the mat. And I think we just bought new Sharpies for it. I made this little library card, in case you can't tell I like to read. And then I thrifted a frame for it and printed it at home on recycled cardstock. All of the frames from both of these tables were thrifted or ones that we had at home, so we didn't need to buy any new. And they were all thrifted for like under $2 each, so it was a huge cost savings. This cute little advice box we bought on Facebook Marketplace, and then we bought some new pens for the cards that came with it. All of the little signs on the tables, like "Love You to the Moon and Back," they were all thrifted, and I found them 2 weeks before our wedding. So perfect timing. And all of the candles that were around these tables were from our home that we already had, that we just put in the decor boxes. The second area that we needed to decorate were all of our dinner tables and sweetheart table. Our caterer rented the tablecloths, so we didn't have to worry about that. But we did buy these Dusty Rose table runners on Facebook Marketplace. They were on all of our tables and throughout our entire venue. On our food tables, our dessert tables, any table, there was a Dusty Rose table runner on it. So it really just kind of tied the whole venue together. And we chose Dusty Rose because that was one of the colors that was in my bouquet. And then we bought 120 silver chargers from somebody on Facebook Marketplace. For the center of our tables, we made these photo frames. One side had pictures of us from the table number age, and the other side corresponded with something in our 6 years of dating that also had that table number. And so that was through for all 12 of our tables. We had a really hard time finding double-sided frames, so we did buy these with a damaged box on Amazon. We couldn't find them anywhere else. I did find gold ones, but we did not have gold in our color palette and we didn't want gold. We don't really like gold, so we wanted to stick with silver, so that was part of the problem because gold is such a popular wedding color. So they were hard to find, so we bit the bullet and bought them with a damaged box on Amazon. Quinn 3D printed all of our table numbers with bioplastic. And then our succulent bowls, I thrifted all of the bowls and then grew the succulents myself from mother plants at our house. These little wool bees and flower picks were bought with damaged packaging on Amazon. My mom actually had half of the wool bees, so we only needed to buy half. My parents bought these custom cookies to go on our charger plates from a small business. They were so good. People were talking about them for like a week after the wedding. They were so good. And on each table were a few candle votives. I got most of the candles from my house because we just had them. The rest of them I found at a thrift store. But I thrifted every single one of the votives. They're mismatched and it was so cool. It looked so unique and looked great on all of our tables. For our wedding favors, almost everybody took them, which doesn't always happen with wedding favors. But we made these cute little honey jars, which we did buy everything brand new. I couldn't buy damaged box ones, but we bought them brand new, sanitized them in our dishwasher before we filled them. Our tables were beautiful. They weren't overcrowded, so people could still set their stuff down on the table. Our sweetheart table had all of the same things. It just had a greenery that I thrifted, and I added a love sign that I also thrifted. Our champagne glasses were borrowed from my parents. They're the ones that they actually used for their wedding. We borrowed them to toast to the purchase of our first house and then to toast at our wedding. The other thing I wanted to mention is that it's very popular on wedding TikTok to recommend buying like these clear tubs to stick all of your table stuff in. You don't need them. We brought everything in cardboard boxes and just labeled the outside of them. It was fine. We just saved our cardboard boxes before the wedding, and we had plenty of boxes and there were no issues with using cardboard instead of these plastic tubs. I also made this giant crosswords and cocktails frame just for people to fill out during cocktail hour. Just something simple and fun, and it actually filled out within the first few minutes. I thrifted the frame and then made the giant crossword on my computer on InDesign and then got it printed. We used a dry erase marker that we had lying around and it was fun. The only other decor that we did was our welcome sign and our table seating chart. For our welcome sign, I realized a week before the wedding that we probably needed a welcome sign. So we went to a local Goodwill and picked up a mirror, and I used my Cricut to label it. For our table seating chart, we actually bought it on Facebook Marketplace for $10, which was a steal. Although it did have this gold brown border that we didn't like and didn't match at all. So I used junk mail and newspapers to cover the mirror and then spray painted the whole outside of the mirror black. It was so easy and didn't take long at all. And then I used my Cricut for all the vinyl and then printed our arrangements on recycled cardstock. I was so happy with how this came out. It came out even better than what we envisioned. I also bought 2 easels secondhand on Facebook Marketplace that somebody else used for their wedding for both of those. One for each mirror. Now this was kind of controversial. We did not have a traditional bridal shower or a wedding registry. Honestly, it would have just created a lot of waste and I was not comfortable with it. We've lived in our home for 2 years now and we've been slowly upgrading a lot of our things since we've been here. When we moved in, I had basically just a lot of cheaper college stuff, so as things break, we replace them. And I could not justify adding a bunch of new things to a registry that we didn't really need just to have a registry. So we didn't have one. We also did not have a honeymoon fund or house fund or anything like that. I didn't want people to feel like they needed to contribute, so we left it very open-ended, and it was the best thing we could have done. We did have a lot of guests that gave us money, which we are so grateful for. We also got some really cool gifts from our friends. And we even had people who donated to the Botanical Gardens in our name, which was super awesome. Our thank you cards actually came from our Buy Nothing group. We needed 68 of them, and somebody was giving away a box with 73, so it was perfect. We hand wrote all of them about a week after the wedding, but I printed on recycled paper a postcard with a QR code to our wedding album and also another QR code to a shared Google folder for people to upload their photos to. I wanted to share our memories of the day, but I also wanted to see everybody else's too. We also took photos with each table during the wedding, and I included a few photos in each thank you card. Everybody got a photo of me and Quinn and any photos that we had from that night of each guest. So their table photo, or if we got separate photos with them. And we got so many compliments on doing our thank you cards this way. People loved it and are still talking about it 2 months later. I found so many options at our local thrift stores. For our batch bash, we did a combined bachelorette party, which was just a game night that we had with a bunch of our friends. It was great. And it was pretty casual, so this is what I wore. And then for our rehearsal and rehearsal dinner, I actually wore the dress that I'm wearing right now. It worked out so well, and combined, both of these outfits cost less than $20. I think that's everything, but every time I say that, I think of more. No, I think that's everything. If there's anything else you want to know, leave a comment and I'll respond with how we made it eco-friendly, if we did. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, that was a lot of stuff to gather for a wedding, and you're right. About a month before our wedding, our entire dining room became inaccessible. It was our wedding central. It was where I finished up all of our DIY projects. I had boxes in front of my bookshelves so we couldn't get to the bookshelves, just filled filled with all of the stuff that we'd collected for the wedding. By the time the wedding passed, I needed my house back. The clutter was stressing me out so much. I probably could have sold everything on Facebook Marketplace and made some of our money back, except the stuff that we got from my Buy Nothing group, because there's rules for that. You can't sell that. But who knows how long it would have taken to get my house back and get all of that stuff out of our house. So we made a decision to post everything on our local Buy Nothing group. I started posting things on Monday morning after our wedding. We got married on a Saturday, and by Wednesday night, everything had been picked up from our home. Pretty much everything actually went to people who were planning weddings of their own, so it worked out really well. I do still have my bouquet. I don't know what I want to do with it yet. I have my dress cleaned and preserved, and I have all of my dress cuttings. Not sure what I want to do with it yet. Quinn obviously still has his suit and his outfit and his shoes. Our guest book is sitting on our dresser right now, and then we purchased this box after the wedding from Michael's just to keep little mementos from throughout the day. It also is what holds all of our cards from our engagement and all of our wedding cards and stuff like that. That's all that's left in our home from our wedding day. I wanted to still be minimalist-ish, so I asked our photographer and videographer to get photos and videos of everything. So now we have a bunch of digital keepsakes of the day instead of keeping everything in a basement in boxes. We're also going to print out a bunch of our photos to hang around our home, and I want to get a Christmas ornament of our wedding cake. I think they're super cute, and maybe my bouquet as well. I also saw somebody, I think on TikTok, who had every single photo from their wedding printed in a photo album. I might do something like that. I'm waiting for more of our guests to upload photos, and then maybe I'll do something like that down the line. Planning a wedding in 9 months is hard, and planning an eco-friendly wedding in 9 months was even harder. But I wouldn't change a thing. Our day was absolutely magical and better than what we planned. If you're planning an eco-friendly wedding, just remember that not every single thing you do has to be 100% eco-friendly. Just remember, you don't have to be perfect to still have a sustainable wedding. And it was really hard to make a lot of these things sustainable just because of the way the wedding industry is. So even if you make one part of your wedding sustainable, great. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them down below and I will get back to all of you. If you liked this video, subscribe to my channel, or you can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, where I share more about my everyday and perfect low-waste life. I hope you have a great day, happy wedding planning, and see you next time.